Hey everyone, welcome to Shunya One, episode 193. Yet another very thrilling conversation today. I'm talking with Ravi Bhushan, the founder and CEO of BrightCHAMPS. BrightCHAMPS, if you haven't heard about them, is an EdTech company, first of all, but a very different, I would say, EdTech in terms of its approach, its the scope, the market they're going after, everything from the fact that they are India-born Goa-born startup in the pandemic who went outside of India first to solve for edtech in the global market, and now of course providing services in India. To the fact that they are very focused on skill development and very practical life skills, like Ravi mentioned in the chat. So a very interesting conversation, and both personal background of Ravi as well. And the kind of stuff he's done, as well as what Bright Champs is up to. I hope you'll enjoy it. Stay tuned. We'll take a quick break and continue the conversation.
Hey everyone, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Cyrus Says, Cyrus is joined by Shali Chopra, founder of SheThePeople.tv. She talks to Cyrus about her new book, Sisterhood Economy, of, by, for women. On The Wire Talks, Siddharth talks to Booker Prize-winning author Shehan Karuna Tilaka. He speaks about what winning the prize means to him and the country of Sri Lanka. On Shunya One, Shiladitya talks to Deepak Gulapalli, CEO of Head Digital Works. Deepak clears the confusion between gaming and gambling. On Anish Thing, Anish talks to watch collector Rizwan Bachao. They give their recommendations for wristwatches starting at Rs 50,000 to start your collection. And on All Things Policy, the team sheds light on the US-led Lunar program and the challenges it might create. Once again, don't forget to visit our merch store on ivmpodcast.com. We have some super cool and exciting stuff for you. Also, do follow us on social media properties. We are at IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Also, do remember to spread the word, as you know, it helps a lot. And of course, don't forget to rate and review our shows on whatever platform you're listening to them. You can also check out all our shows on youtube.com/IVM Podcasts. And finally, we would like to thank our sponsors this week: Bumble, Heads Up for Tails, Kotak Privy League Program, and HDFC Mutual Fund. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Hey, hi Ravi. Welcome to Shunya One. How are you doing?
Hey, hi Shiladitya. I'm glad to be here. I'm doing fine. How are you?
Doing fine, thank you. Ravi, you're a very unique entrepreneur in so many ways. But I think I'll first ask, where are you right now? Are you in Goa, which is what you call home, and your where you founded the company, or are you somewhere
Yeah,
else? Just
I'm
curious.
based out of Goa. You are
Yeah.
right. And in fact, the company is headquartered in Goa. We
Right.
started during the peak of pandemic. And
Right.
when I formed the initial team, I asked them that, what is the most suitable place wherein we can work effectively? And I gave them option, metro cities, beaches, or mountains. They said beaches. And then we all shifted to Goa.
Wonderful. Oh wow. So it was a conscious choice to go and then start the company. Oh, that's amazing.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. No, so that's good to know. And like I said, I would love to sort of hear from you, in your words about what exactly led to the company getting started and why, what Bright Champs is all about. But before that, to for everyone listening today, your own story a little bit, because you've been an entrepreneur, a operator, a part of a lot of unique companies in the India startup ecosystem. So could you tell us a little bit of your backstory to set context?
Sure. My upbringing, I come from a tier two sort of town in India, wherein there is not much sort of infrastructure, but there is a lot of aspiration, right? And unique thing about my upbringing is that I'm mostly a homeschool child. I
Hmm.
used to live with my grandfather. After grade three, I sort of uh, expressed to him that going to a school is not so effective. Can I just study with you? And then he sort of agreed and convinced my father, right. And in the
Wow.
hindsight, I find that this was a good decision, right. I find that in the conventional education system there are so many things which can be done in a better way. But long story short,
Hmm.
that is how my childhood went. And
Hmm.
then after I completed my 12th, my elder sister got married, and my brother-in-law, he was from Bits Pilani. He said that you should do engineering or medicine. Otherwise, there is
The usual.
not much say in the society, and India is like that, right? So So I appeared for IIT, got into computer science in ITBHU, and then after that, pretty much life was a normal life. I was a techie guy. Uh, you know, I was working in different, sort of a startup, got some early success. Few of the startups got acquired by, other companies based out of Toronto and New York. And then
Hmm.
finally, after working for some of the startups outside India, I realized that, I should come back to Indian startup ecosystem. And that is when I joined Prop Tiger Housing Makan as the CTO. And there also the journey was fantastic. I used to love technology, that was my core skill. But then over a period of time, I also developed a lot of fascination and love for customer insight, right? And product and distribution pieces. And I think all those things are very, very important, right? So the journey was quite rewarding. So that is my background before starting Bright Champs.
Wonderful. And these companies, especially the last, let's say, last stint, at Prop Tiger and housing, etc. All of these companies were also, I think, housing especially was very focused on product. It was very much product led in its aspirations to sort of break into that space. What was that sort of your basis to also crack into the edtech space now that you are in? And what was your initial, let's say, thesis around when you researched uh, the space overall?
Yeah, I think Bright Champs is an outcome of a lot of personal experiences I've gone through in my life since the childhood. As you can sense, I am sort of a misfit to the conventional education system, right?
Hmm.
When the term of homeschooling was not there, I was sort of doing homeschooling with my grandfather, right?
Right.
Uh, and when I was in my professional job, Siladitya, uh, that time also I realized a common pattern in society, and that pattern was around people missing on core life skills, and that is why ending up with an inferior outcome in their life because
Hmm.
nobody guided them that these life skills are very important. So a lot of my tech
Hmm.
friends who were in good job earning good sort of money, uh,
Hmm.
they used to always share with me that they are earning money but they don't know how to deal with money, right? and uh,
Hmm.
and that was because nobody made them literate around finances, right? How to deal with money,
Right.
how to invest, and how to utilize, how to take advantage of compounding. All those things were completely alien concepts. So we were academically good people, right, in society, but financially you can call illiterate
Yeah,
people, right? So
illiterate. Yeah.
yeah, and that led to a lot of inferior outcome. A lot of my friends who were not from the tech background, like chartered accountant, like interior designers, like lawyers, doctors, all these people are very, most of them are very serious about their profession. But then they always used to share this feeling that, Ravi, if I would have had the knowledge of technology, we would have also done much better in our life, right? and
Yeah.
and that was a common sort of pattern emerging. And I was seeing that these people are very, very serious and they want a very superlative outcome in their life, but unfortunately they are stuck because some of the core life skills which ideally should catalyze their career growth, but unfortunately nobody taught them about this. They now is becoming a hindrance for their overall outcome in life.
Hmm.
So I realized that these things are very important. Unfortunately, the conventional education system is not focusing a lot because of their own regions. But then there is a big opportunity if we can provide high quality education around all these foundational skill, important life skills of modern time. Then we can not only solve an important pain point in the society. At the same time, we can also create a massive sort of successful company. So both the aspirations can be solved, because I realize that this is not just India specific problem. This is a problem in many other countries, even in the top schools of New York, Dubai, Kuala Lumpur, and Abu Dhabi. What I realize is that in the name of the high quality technology education, schools are teaching how to make things bold and italics in Microsoft Word, right? That was the level of education. So what I'm trying to say is that this was a global gap, and the moment I realized that there is a big market and there is a real pain point, I just went after it.
Hmm, interesting. And again, narrowing down before we get into, let's say, a description of the kind of product that you've built and how it goes to market per se. What was it? So you mentioned two problems areas: people in tech were not good at the non-tech stuff, and then the people in, let's say, non-tech were always handicapped when it comes to tech, and we see this around us. So
Yeah.
you're absolutely correct observation, right? So when you decided to build this for EdTech, which is like earlier in life, right? When you're obviously approaching the demographic of children. Uh, how did you decide how early this has to go? Like where, and by I think this was 2020 when you were formed. Obviously, start of the pandemic, like you said, EdTech was obviously had not seen the chaos and craziness that we saw in the last 2 years, but it was a good alternative or an add-on to, let's say, a child's regular experience. So how did that happen? Did you talk to parents? How did you see how well this would be received?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, the first decision that I should do this first for the K-12 segment was from the first principle thinking.
Hmm.
If you ask me, let's say in my family, me and my son who is 9 year old, if you if you ask both of us to learn a new language, let's say French or whatever, Spanish, right?
Hmm.
I can guarantee you that he will learn faster and easier than me, right? Like
Oh,
the
of
in the
course.
formative ages, the 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 speed and the clarity with which you grasp the concept is just so fantastic, right? And that is why in the adulthood people struggle more compared to the kids who are in their very
Hmm.
formative ages learning the same thing, right? So I realized that the skills which I'm talking about are important life skills, and it is important that we provide this kind of introduction or familiarity around these important life skills in the early age of the child, because that time they will be very raw and they will understand the
Hmm.
concept very easily, and they will become the first class citizen of the modern world rather than retrofitting this concept when they are already matured, right? so
Hmm.
so that was the reason. This was a sort of first principle thinking. And the second thing was that of course I talked to a lot of parents, right? More than 300 parents I personally talked for more than an hour each. And I realized that in direct or indirect way people are going through this pain point. A lot of parents I encountered, wherein
Hmm.
they said that I have suffered through this thing. I don't want my children to go through the same suffering, right? And hence I'm ready to spend time, money, and focus on ensuring that my child does not go through the same pain, right?
Right.
And then I realized that there is a real gap, and there is a real market available.
So, when obviously parents like yourself, obviously, and everyone you spoke to, they've realized that this is something necessary. But if I can ask, the India at large is still very much a rote education system, right? I mean, we are very standardized. We are very exam oriented. Like all the early, my reference was obviously to the early ed tech was very exam and like degree or certification oriented sort of ed tech products, which were nothing but extension of your classes which people go to. So when you look approach with your product, obviously it would have been something which maybe the masses were not ready for. So I'm curious to understand what happened in these, what made this the right thing for at the right time for our country when
Absolutely.
you went out with this.
Yeah, I will share, Siladit, one interesting viewpoint which is happening in the society, both in India and outside. There was a time like 10 years before when I used to hire tech talent in the industry. I used to index a lot on the background, the kind of institute that the person is coming from. So if the person is from IIT, I'll heavily, give a
Yeah,
good
bias.
score
Hmm.
around that, and then I'll 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 convince myself whether whether the person knows the skill or not, because he is from such an institute. He will figure it out, right? And then we used to hire. At the same time, now when I see my own behavior and my team's behavior in terms of selecting the right candidate has significantly changed. What we are doing is that we are not caring about what kind of institute you are coming from, right? Even if you are 12th pass,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
or you are coming from one of the top colleges of or top institute of India, more than that, what we are interested in is whether you are skilled enough to do your job or not, right? So
Right.
what I'm trying to say is that the reward system, which is the job market, which is the reward system of education, is already shifting from certificate based reward to a skill based reward, right? And that
Right.
shift will percolate down, and the education system will start aligning everything accordingly, right? What I'm trying to say is we are in a segment which is in its early ages, right? It's growing very fast because these are like all modern skills, and the world is changing very very fast. Everybody
Right.
wants to adopt, and the conventional system is not able to move so fast. The gap is increasing, becoming wider and wider. What I believe is that one sort of cycle gets completed at the job market wherein the skill gets rewarded more than the certificate. You will find
Correct.
that the entire education system down the line gets aligned towards acquiring more skill rather than acquiring more certificate, or more, or getting admitted into a premier institute, right? i
Right.
i i personally feel that even right now there is a very big market because we are in a global sort of play. At the same time, so you can imagine, my playbook is I'm trying to ride a mountain wherein the mountain is growing very fast, and I am also trying to go up. So there should be a compounding impact of both the things,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
overall, what I feel is that one or two cycle of this feedback loop, wherein the job market sends signal to the education market that the skills are important and certificates are not that important, right?
Right.
And then we will see an explosion in this particular segment, wherein people will start focusing a lot on acquiring good skill, modern skill, rather than acquiring high quality certificates, right? So that is
Right.
one important piece. The other thing is, we all need to understand, and if you see from an Indian landscape also, uh, the academic outcome is already peaking out. Every now
Hmm.
and then you read in the newspaper that this time Delhi University is taking admission of kids who are 98% plus,
Yeah.
99% plus, right?
Yeah.
Now where, so there is no scope of differentiation now, right? Everything has already
Yeah.
peaked out there, right? So if you
Yeah.
have to really differentiate people, it has to be apart from something, apart from academics, right? and
Yeah.
and these are the real, and that is why we say that we are an education company which is focused on modern important life skills, which are actually going to empower you to become first class citizen of the modern world, and also help you do better in your life, because these things are going to be more rewarding down the line.
Wonderful, wonderful. I mean, I absolutely understand what you're saying, and of course, the example that you shared as well. I think definitely more and more, as those signals percolate downwards, like you said, we will see this being adopted more and more. Ravi, I want to get into a little bit of the technology chops and product of Bright Champs as well. But before we do that, I'll take a quick break and come back and continue the conversation.
Sure, thank you.
I have a very funny story. Can I say it? Hi, I'm Shweta. I'm Navya's mother.
Hi, I'm Shweta. I'm Navya's mother.
I am Navya's nanny. My name is Jaya Bachchan.
I got nothing over here, guys.
It's a big day for me. Okay, start. What the hell?
I was saying something very nice and empowering, and you just interrupted me.
Don't complain. Don't explain. Never explain.
Let me say it.
I have my little secrets. Hello, madam. How are you? I got your number. I told you don't get me started. Mom. When you want to do money pinching, you're also very good. I've seen you. I've noticed. I finished these many books. You're still on your first book. I finished so many books. I'm like, what the hell?
Leave me alone.
Definition of love has changed today. I'm too old for all this. Navya, there's a wonderful lake. Go and jump into
And
it.
drown
and
in
drown.
it. And she does.
Oh my God! Stop!
What are you saying?
What the hell? It's important to have friends.
My best friends have been Navya and Shweta.
Aww. I have a problem saying no.
You better learn. It's the
the
best,
best word.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
Okay.
What the hell, Navya?
What the hell, Navya? You're saying this podcast is called What the Hell, Navya? I have at least 3 What the Hell, Navya episodes in a day.
Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm in conversation with Ravi. Talking to us about what Bright Champs is all about. And Ravi, you've shared the origin story, the scope, I think, and obviously the very apparent, let's say, market that there is for something like this. Now, if you ask me personally, what you just said last, right, that there is skills are more important or will become more and more important versus, let's say, just your certificates. I think that there is a conscious effort around that, definitely, at early ages. Like I know your child is 9 years old. I have a 1 year old today, and already I can foresee that there are these, let's say, play groups and play schools and whatnot, which are all about sort of random skills, which are not going to be, no one's going to give me a certificate for that saying that this will help you with admissions anywhere. But I know as a parent it's still valuable that
Yeah.
they learn this. So between there and then the gap, and then the job market, where obviously, like you said, they have accepted that skills are necessary, and anyone getting a job today, they will consider their skills more than their certificate in most places. Between those two ages is pretty much the K-12, like you said, is what your target area is, right? So what is the product? How have you designed it? Is it a curriculum? Is it courses? And what are those unique, let's say, anchor points or outcomes that you promise, more so to the parent as well, right? Because this is obviously a parent who's taking a decision around uh, putting their child into one of your courses. So could you explain the overall product to us a little bit?
Sure. Uh, we right now offer four important life skills. As I said, that the company vision is all about becoming a platform which is synonym to high quality education around important life skill, which is required to have a superlative outcome in life in today's time, right? So we started with technology foundation courses for kids, and then we expanded that to financial literacy for kids, and then now we have the third vertical, which is robotics for kids, and then the fourth vertical, which is effective communication, which is like how to effectively present your idea, how to
Nice.
communicate effectively, which is also an important life skill
Of
in
course.
today's time, right? So these are the four things which we have right now to offer. Of course, that's not the complete set of things. Whenever we realize that in a given market, this particular life skill is very important and is not being served properly by the conventional system, then we'll get into that, right? As far as the product experience is concerned, uh, in all these verticals, we have integrated a lot of technology. Like for
Hmm.
example, we have a financial literacy app through which one can learn the basics of finances in a very playful, gamified way, like concepts like opportunity cost, supply demand, how stock market works, how insurance works, how money evolved from barter system to gold coin
Hmm.
to dollar bill to plastic currency to cryptocurrency, right? All these concepts in a very playful way one can learn. uh,
Nice.
Similarly, in the technology education, we have a lot of experience which we have crafted. We have a smart works platform through which children can actually get into that immersive world and interact with each other. We are the
Oh,
only platform which is giving a sort of global exposure to children in their early days, right? We all know that the time has come wherein when we get into our professional life, we will be required to compete with the people at a global of global nature,
right.
right?
Right.
You are not going to only work with people of your country, right? And people who have more confident to deal with people of diverse culture, they will have a better outcome. So why can't we provide such an experience to kids in their early days, so they become, so when they grow up, they remain more confident around these things, right? Now, so we have platform which basically can provide such kind of experience, and these are all coming from very first hand sort of experience and feedback loop from the parent, right? when
Hmm.
i when when I myself and my team talk to the parent, they say that whatever a school they send their child to, a school by design is a local phenomena, right?
Yes.
In that particular school, only the children of that area are going to get enrolled.
Yes.
Nobody is going to send a child from New York to a school of Kuala Lumpur. That's not possible, right? That's a basic design of a school. Now, given that we are a multi-country global edtech platform, we can provide such a global experience to the child, wherein a child from Kuala Lumpur, a child from New Delhi, a child from New York, child from Dubai can group together, and they can work on various aspects, and they can learn about each other culture, and they can
Nice.
also grow together, right? That is an unparalleled experience which is otherwise not possible, right? So
Amazing. Yeah.
so so we built all this kind of platform, right? And we are trying to see that our goal and approach of building product and platform is very simple. Find out the gap which is not which is there, because nobody is serving around those important skills or important experience points, and then
Mm.
build a product led solution around that, right? Like, for example, in robotics, we have our own kit which we send to the child, and then the teacher has a kit, and with the dual camera technology, we basically give the experience
Okay.
wherein the child actually creates hardware based robot. It's not just a screen thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the child gets to know that how things get integrated and how to do automation, and it's a very evolved experience, because he or she can see things working, moving, and doing things, right? So that is the robotics part. Similarly, in the communication piece, we have a complete platform wherein there is a tangible outcome after every class, right? So in all those four verticals we are operating in, we have sort of created different type of product, and all those things stitched together is the overall experience of Bright Champs.
Wonderful. And one of the things you mentioned actually was going to be also another question that came up, that a lot of the learning experience is obviously community in some sense, right? You go to school, you are with your other friends and other students, and then there's of course the teacher and the faculty, who need you, who do things very hands on, right?
Yeah.
So how are you doing? I mean, you explained a little bit of that already, that you're bringing that experience of having small groups, of having faculty, which brings me to the question around that as well. Like, how are you managing the faculty side experience, the teachers of this? Like, these are all edtech is, again, fortunately, unfortunately, today, like I said, there's chaos in edtech, I would say. There's too much edtech around for a parent, let's say, to even decide what's best for their child, maybe. So how are you making that also something which parents can trust, and can be very confident of, that the child is getting the right kind of education from you, vis-a-vis anything else?
Yeah, that's a very important question, Siladit, and we have worked a lot on that particular part. I think that is one of the core differentiation for Bright Champs compared to many other companies out there. One, unlike unlike many other vertical wherein the supply side is treated a like an entity which is involved in the transactional work. Like, for example, you say Uber driver or a beautician or a carpenter or something like that, they
Hmm.
come and do their work, right?
Hmm.
But then in our case we are dealing with teaching, right? Wherein the job of the teacher is much more evolved and much more in experience driven, right? So rather than involving the teachers in a very transactional way, we actually built a community around teacher, wherein we involve them. We gave them a feeling that you are part of an international academy, and there is a proper growth path, and we made them we actually enabled them, equipped them with the right tools, so that they remain engaged and they remain excited for each and every class they are taking. Number one. Number two, we also realize that in the global playbook there are a lot of geographies because they are blocked, or there is an entry barrier because of language. Like, for example, when we
Hmm.
went to Indonesia, we realized that 80% of the market is locked because people
Bahasa,
can
yeah.
only conversate in Bahasa. Saudi Arabia,
Hmm.
similar case. Vietnam, similar case. Russia, similar case. uh, Korea, similar case. Japan, similar case, right? So we realized that a significant portion of the world is locked because of the language barrier, and we are not just a company. If there is a hindrance toward in terms of giving a high quality education to the children wherever we are present, we try to solve it using the first principle. So we
Hmm.
took the courage uh, being being an Indian company to start with, right? We took the courage to solve this language barrier at a global level, and I'm proud to say
Hmm.
that right now we are serving the experience in more than 12 languages across the world, right? So
Wow.
we are the only EdTech company who can teach in Arabic. We are the only EdTech company who can teach in Vietnamese, who can teach in Bahasa, who can teach in many other languages, right? So what I'm trying to say is our teaching community is very diverse. It's a community driven approach wherein we have equipped them with right tools and right training, so that
Hmm.
they are knowledgeable, then they are equipped to and excited for every class. And at the same time, we have also created the most diverse sort of academy with so many languages, so many cultures, serving different type of countries, right?
Hmm. Oh, wow. So, I mean, and that means you've seriously gone global, like you said, from day one. Was this was a conscious approach when you, let's say, launched, even during the 2020 pandemic, that you will sort of take this product global, and then your supply side also will be global as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Going global was day one decision, right? It again came from many of the discussions which we internally did, and based on first principle. Imagine, think about TCS or Infosys building software for Indian companies, how far they could have gone, right?
Right.
So
Right.
that is the IT services, route. If you are doing education export, right? They are into IT export. If you are doing education export, which was the first, bet
Yeah.
we took, right? We just found that it's very intuitive to serve the global demand through Indian supply, right? And then when we
Yes.
started going deeper and deeper into the global in our global approach, we realized that there are other problems which we need to solve. And then we started building the global supply also. So the mindset that we will build a global company was from day zero, right? And that is why our first launch was in Middle East, and then we went to Southeast Asia, and then we went to North America, right? And now for few of the important courses, we are also present in India, right?
Right.
But then I would say that we were clear in our thought that the gap is global, the opportunity
Right.
is global, so we will not just settle with the local solution.
That's wonderful. Ravi, as closing notes, I always ask, like every entrepreneur has a big vision, but what can people who are listening to this podcast, let's say, look forward to seeing from, let's say, you and the Bright Champs team? And of course, if you can also share, let's say, if anyone who heard this show today, what's the best place to reach you in case they want to, follow up with you on any questions or anything else they have.
Absolutely. I think, my experience with education, Siladitya, is there are a lot of companies, there are a lot of interesting sort of solutions which exist in the market, but very few companies are focusing more on delivery. They are focused more on acquisition, right? I think both the engine need to hum properly, right? Education is such a thing wherein if you do a good job in terms of delivery, people are ready to reward you, right? The kind of NPS we drive in different countries, I get super surprised, right? 70 plus NPS is something which is a very rare
Wow.
phenomena in many of the
Yeah.
industry, right? Now what I'm trying to say is that people are not expecting a lot. People are just expecting that you fulfill the promises which you have shown to them, right? Or which you have shared with them, right? And if you deliver just on them, right, they are going to reward you in so many ways: referral, word of mouth, creating a good image around the brand, right? I think the focus on delivery has gone a little lesser compared to the acquisition focus, right? That's
Mm.
one important piece of advice for many of the
EdTech
people who are,
community at large.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, edtech community at large. And the second thing I'll say that edtech is a patience game, right? You don't need to be impatient around it. This feedback cycle takes much longer time compared to many other industry. If you are in e-commerce, if you are in fintech, you do the transaction and overnight you can share the feedback loop. But then
Yeah.
people buying courses here, they are not going to give the feedback overnight, right? Because they will wait for their
Yeah.
child to have those tangible outcomes to be clear, right? So it
Right.
is it is a longer cycle, right? It has to. So what I'm trying to say is that if you are doing good job, be patient around it, and keep on doing it. The compounding impact will happen down the line, and there is a lot of positive flywheel effect which you can see if you remain calm and composed and focus on the delivery quality rather than just scaling up the company.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, uh, like the earlier question was also, what can we look forward to seeing from you and your team? Like, what are your next year plans, growth plans, or anything sort of just where next for Bright Champs?
No, absolutely. I think we are in a wonderful opportunity. There is a lot of a scope to do a great job. Our next milestone is to teach 10 million kids in the global
Wow.
in the global arena, right? And keep on doing with quality whatever we are doing, right? People are already rewarding in so many ways, right? Our initial part of the journey in Bright Champs was completely the growth was completely based on only one source of funding, which was customer revenue, right? We were
Mm.
completely bootstrapped company, right? We had zero money from outside, right? So what I'm trying to say is that we need to remain focused the way we were, right? And our next milestone, as I said, that to teach or provide this kind of
Amazing.
education to 10 million kids.
Amazing. Ravi, I mean, thank you so much for this super, super insightful conversation. What's the best place to reach you? Do you prefer LinkedIn or Twitter or anywhere else you're
Yeah,
available for everyone listening?
I'm available on Twitter and LinkedIn both, right?
Okay.
People can reach out to me at Ravi Bhu on Twitter, and
Okay.
LinkedIn, it's linkedin.com/Ravi Bhu. Yeah.
Wonderful. We will share those details, and of course, for everyone listening to the show, if you found the show interesting, for Shunya One as well, please like and share this episode wherever you're listening to this podcast. And once again, reach out to Ravi or myself on Twitter or anywhere else, and we'd love to hear feedback from you. Ravi, once again, amazing, amazing conversation. Thank you so much. I think last 30 odd minutes were super power packed with a lot of insight, and clearly you're one of those unique tech founders, especially who are very, very focused on the right things which you shared today. So absolutely look forward to a lot more success for you and the team, and thank you so much for being on our show today.
Thank you very much, Shiladitya. It was pleasure talking to you. You raised the right question. I'm glad that people are talking about the important question which EdTech should always talk about. Thank you very much for having me.
No, my pleasure, my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.